Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar, Create Secure Pain-Free Checkout Experiences on the Web and Pay with Samsung Pay. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping items we want to remind you. First, if you have any questions for the presenters during the presentation, please post them in the QA box and we will answer them at the end of the session. If you have any technical issues during the webinar, you cannot hear us, you cannot see the slides, also, please post your comments in the QA box and we will help you as soon as we can. This session is being recorded and we'll be sharing the presentation slides on the Samsung developer webpage. And also, please don't forget to provide feedback at the end of the presentation. You're going to see a survey. Your feedback is very important to us. We want to improve these webinars. We want to hear what you want to see from us. So any comment that you have, please share with us. So a quick introduction of the team here. I'm Gaby Rojas. I'm part of the developer support team. We are based in Mountain View, California, and we are here to help you with your Android and Tizen projects. If you are integrating Samsung Android SDK, Tizen Wearables SDK, you are trying to use the watch face editor or the theme editor, if you're having any issues or have questions about the submission process to Galaxy apps or how to request promotion for your applications, we are here to help you. Please register to the Samsung Developer Program. It's free of cost, and just submit a ticket and we'll get back to you. We have one more webinar scheduled for this month by end of November. It's basically about distribution and promotion of your Galaxy app in the Galaxy App Store or in the Gear Store or Theme Store for your app, Gear app, or theme. It's reach a greater audience and increase your app download, so I recommend you register and join us in 2 weeks. We also have a full library of past webinars for different technologies. They're all available in our website. We have the videos also uploaded in YouTube, so you can take a look at that. Okay, I'm here with Mahesh Kulkarni from Product Management Team from Samsung Internet. Mahesh, it's all yours.
Thanks, Gaby. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we are here to talk about web payments. So just a background, before we talk about web payments, web has made a great progress in last couple of years. Great premium features like push notification, offline download, background refresh, and installing on the home screen. These were some features that were only available for native apps and not for websites. However, things have changed from last 1 year. Progressive web apps have started providing a lot of these features for even websites. One particular area where web still lags is payments. Checkout experience or just paying for things when you're buying something online is still not optimal. There's still some pain points, and that's what we are here to talk about today. So let's look, why do we care? So let's talk about why do we even care web payment. Mobile commerce is a huge market. It's 150 billion in 2017, just in US, right? Globally, it's going to be a lot bigger, and it's always increasing at a rapid pace. What's very, very interesting of this fact and why we care about web payment is 66% of all these mobile commerce, they happen on the web, not the apps. So 2/3 of the purchases happening on the web, on mobile, with our current experience that we have. So that's why we care. So that's why we want to improve this experience. And web traffic, generally people browsing on the mobile web browser has crossed desktop browsers. So that's already huge. So people are moving from browsing on their web browser to their smartphones because they always have that one with themselves, and anytime they want to browse, they want to buy something, they just go to mobile web. Contradicting to those numbers is the conversion rate. So mobile commerce or any commerce is all about conversion rate, and the conversion rate on mobile web is much lower than desktop. So think about that. So why is that? So why is mobile web conversion rate 2/3 lower or 66% lower than desktop? Let's look at why. So a couple of days ago, I was looking to buy a AC adapter for a Dell laptop. After finding or looking around for Google, I found this product on one of the very well-known merchant website. The charger, all I wanted to buy was this one charger and nothing else, right? And now I'm ready to buy. So this is how the experience looks like today, right? So I go to the merchant website, I find the product, I'm asked to click on adding the item to the cart, which I do. Then it takes me to the next page, a cart. This is the cart page, so I'm ready to check out. Yes, I don't want to buy anything else, so I'm ready to check out. And then it presents me with more screens. Okay, you have to log into my website. If I had an account, I would just enter the previous email ID and password, but in this case I did not, so I had to create an account because it wouldn't let me buy otherwise. So I fill in all these details, and at the end of filling in all these details, I'm ready to click on continue or sign up. So I'm done that, and I'm hoping I'm done checking out now. I can finish buying, but no. So now, of course, it's a physical good, so they need to ship this to somewhere, so they're asking me to enter my shipping address. So I go through entire form, click each one of them, type in on my tiny screen in a tiny keyboard, and I'm already getting frustrated, right? So enter all these details, and then I click on continue, and I'm hoping, okay, now I must be done. Of course not. Now there's still more steps. First, I have to choose a shipping option that I want. So I choose a standard free shipping. Then the next screen, the most important screen, where now I have to provide my payment information. So I try to find my credit card. I find all the details I want and type in every single detail again here. And I'm hoping, yes, I'm done. I click on continue, and now I'm ready to place the order. So what just happened? I don't even know how many clicks, how many typing I had to do, but I had to go through 8 page loads, 8 different pages to buy this one item. There were any one of these stages, I would have dropped out. I would have dropped out and said, okay, no, this is too much to enter on the phone. I'll go back to my desktop and buy later. So I may go back to my desktop and I may not. But the point is, there's a lost opportunity here. There's a lost opportunity for your customers that they went through this phase and they would have dropped out in any one of these stages. It's just not a good experience just to buy this one product, right? So I'm sure most of you have also dropped out from one of these stages before when you're buying something online. So let's look at what are the top reasons why people abandon their checkout. So these are the standard study done on top reasons why people abandon checkout, and you can see the most common ones are too long, complicated checkout process. I was asked to create an account. The website crashed because there's too many pages to go through. There were some errors. I couldn't do it. A lot of people don't trust to provide their payment information like credit card numbers to websites. They just don't trust. And there have been many cases where the user's card have been stolen before as well. So there is definitely a security problem on this one as well. So these are some of the top reasons why people abandon their checkout. So some of you might ask, I buy things online, on their desktop, on my mobile, and then there is autofill. So some of you might ask, what about the autofills? So autofills are great. Autofill have been around from very long time on the browser. They save a lot of time for the user. They don't have to keep typing their details again. But there are a few issues with autofill as well. Autofills are not accurate. Autofills don't work on all the sites because the websites have to define properly what their input belongs to for browsers to detect the autofill and fill it accurately. Otherwise, browser tries to do a best guess, and it's not necessarily the right thing you want to autofill. And you still have to remember that it is still too many clicks. You have to still click on an input box and select the box and then continue clicking on the page load. So what's important to know here is it's not reducing my number of steps, number of pages I had to go through before I buy that AC adapter, right? And browsers have been supporting autofill since 2005, so it's been more than a decade. The browser have this feature. It's not a new feature. Even with this existing autofill feature and with how much time it saves, the conversion rate has not improved. The conversion rate on mobile is still very, very low. So what that tells us is autofill is not the answer to improve the conversion. So what is the answer? We'd like to think it's payment request APIs. So what is payment request API? Payment request API is a cross-browser, cross-platform, standard JavaScript APIs. These are built into all major web browsers, and what the experience with using this API is to provide a seamless and secure checkout experience for anything that you buy online. So what is Payment Request API? Payment Request API is basically provides a native payment sheet that is built into browsers. So when you call the API on your web page, browser shows a native payment sheet to provide you one-step checkout experience. That's very important. It's a single page checkout experience, right? So you can see how it looks on the right side. This is one of the screenshot from Samsung Internet that's pre-installed on most Galaxy phones. So the screenshot, what shows you is browser shows details to the user, one single payment sheet, and it has Samsung Shop is the name of the merchant, the URL, and it shows the logo, and these details are displayed for the user, so user knows who are they paying to for privacy and security reasons. And then it shows you the order summary, like what's the total that you would be paying. You can select shipping addresses and shipping options, which is not here. I'll show you in our next demo. So whenever user selects a shipping address, there will be a callback given back to the website and giving this is the shipping address user selected, and the website can populate list of shipping options based on the address, or they can even throw an error, hey, we don't ship to this address, right? So all these errors, all these interactions, but what you see on the sheet is controlled by merchant. What gets displayed on the sheet is also controlled by merchant. So it's a merchant's checkout screen displayed by browser. Then user can select the payment method. They can select a payment, a card on file on the browser, or they can select a secured payment methods, a native payments app like Samsung Pay, which we will get to a little bit later. And websites can also request for users' personal information like their name, like phone number or email ID. So users can enter these data and user approve. When they click on pay, all they have to do is click on pay, authenticate themselves, and all the data that you see on the screen is packaged into a JSON object and given back to the website. It's just that simple, right? In one step. So let's look at that in action. So there's a lot of explanation. I think once we look at how it looks, we'll get an idea what we're talking about. Okay. All right. So I hope you can see this video. So this is one of our Samsung Shop demo website. So you can see, you can buy any item. I click on buy now, and you can see the order details here and summary. User can select a shipping address. You can select a shipping option. So you can see the total changed when you select shipping option, and you can select a card on file and click on us and personal information and click on pay. So all you have to do when you click on pay is enter CVV, and that's it, and authenticate yourself to make sure it's you, and that's it. The website completes the order. So what just happened there is, it's a single step, single sheet checkout experience, and users didn't have to go through multiple pages of checkout flow, right? And all user had to do is enter their CVV number, and the order was confirmed. One thing what you notice there is there was a buy now button along with add to cart. So it's a good design. I think that's the way merchants should design their websites, is if user wants to buy that one item, give them a quick way to buy that item. So you just make it easy for them. They don't have to go through multiple steps. And then the second part, when user clicked on buy now, all the information was presented there was data that came from browser. So the theme here is let browsers help you to improve your checkout experience. Browser knows a lot about the users when they enter their shipping address, payment information, their contact details on different websites. Browser saves them, and then you reuse that data when user tries to buy something online, so make it your checkout experience much faster. And then what happened at the end of that checkout is when user completed the checkout, it just took them to order complete phase, and user was asked to enter a password to create an account. So it's that simple. So they don't have to be asked about creating an account before they buy something. Once you receive all the information that you see on the screen, you can create an account for them with just one single password. So we just saw that in action. I'd also like to say there are users still who like to buy on their desktop. They just don't like buying on their mobile. They want to do a shopping comparison. They want to do a bit of a study before they buy something. Well, we have covered them as well. So payment request API on Samsung Internet works exactly like what you saw on the video on DeX. So what is DeX? So DeX is a desktop mode on your Galaxy phones starting S8, I believe. And it needs an extra accessory DeX adapter, but once you have that, it's basically you can browse, you can use all the apps, most of the apps in a desktop mode, and Samsung Internet has a desktop mode browser, and it continues all the tabs, all the sessions that are on your phone to desktop, so you don't have to re-log in or reload web page or anything. It just continues your session from mobile to desktop. And you have the same buying experience there. You get the same payment sheet and click on pay, and all you have to do is authenticate yourself and you're done. Finished buying experience. So let's dig deep into this API, payment request API. I've been talking a lot about it. So let's look at how it works, how simple the API is. So the step one is you create a payment method object. So this is a JSON object. You basically create a payment method and you specify what are your payment methods, what are the accepted type of your payment. In this case, the demo you just saw, it was basic card. So the website was basically saying, I just accept the card. It's a kind of a replacement for your credit card form on your web page. So it's basically saying I accept only credit cards, and these are the networks I support. So step two is you create another object. It's a details object. This is where you define your cart. All the information you provide here, like the basic one, at least the mandatory one, is the total. You have to add total. What is the total? And you can add more items to it. You can add even individual items to details. It's usually recommended to add for better user experience for the user, but the total is what is at least mandatory. So you define the total, you specify it's a two-step, two different categories. One is label and another one is amount. And in amount, you basically specify currency and the value for the item that you buy. So step three is you're ready to create the payment request object. So you pass three objects to payment request: payment methods, details, and options. So the third one is optional. We'll get back to that a little bit later. So we created the payment method and details object in the previous steps. You pass those, create the payment request object, and once it's created, you call show. So the moment when the show is called, that's when browser native payment sheet pulls up. The user is displayed all the details they are going to buy online. They can take steps. They can change their shipping address. They can change their shipping options. They can define a payment method, select the personal information, and then when they click on pay, they've been asked to authenticate or provide CVV. Once the authentication is done, the show API is then resolves into the response object. So when the response is the JSON structure package that contains all the information that you saw on the payment sheet, the browser's payment sheet that user selected. So it all comes back in the raw text format in the response and JSON object. And the last step you have to do is take that response data. This is typically the process where you would submit this data to your payment gateways or processors and complete the payment. And once you receive a confirmation that the information is valid, the last step you have to do is call response.complete. So this tells browser that the payment went through, the information that user provided was valid. Now you can hide your native payment sheet. So from the point user click confirm their authentication, and from the point you call the complete, there will be a loading icon. There will be a progress UI that browser is showing to the user. So browser gets a chance to hide that once you call complete. So that's it. So this is as simple as that. Optionally, you can make use of another API. Sorry, clicked a bit soon. So optionally, you can call another API called CanMakePayment. So CanMakePayment is a utility API that lets browser tell you, it returns simple true or false, and it tells whether browser can support the payment type that you want user to pay with. So for example, if browser does not have a card on file based on the network that you choose, browser will simply say, no, I don't have the card right now on my file, and it can return false. Or if browser doesn't have the payment app like Samsung Pay set up, it could just say, no, I don't have that set up, and return false. And if they return false, you can always fall back to your traditional checkout, which we don't advise. I think it's still a good idea for users to present it to one payment sheet and let them add the card for the first time. And then from second time onwards, every checkout will have obviously a card on file. But this API is for you to get the confidence of using this API, using payment request API. So if the experience hasn't sold you yet to using it, you can always use CanMakePayment API and use the payment request API when there's 100% guarantee that the payment would go through. There will be no friction for the user, right? So let's look at the other options. So you remember when we're creating payment request object, we pass payment methods and details, and there's this third object, option. So what is the options used for? So the options is basically a bunch of configurations for the user, for the merchants. So merchant can say, I sell a physical good, so I request browser for a shipping address. So you can set shipping address to true, and this notifies the browser. When browser displays the payment sheet, there are UI elements for the payment sheets, and browser makes sure when user selects the shipping address, the callbacks are given back to merchant, and write events are taken care, and shipping options can be handled. And there are other parameters along with it. If you want user's personal information like name, phone number, email ID for creating an account purpose or sending, say, an order confirmation, you can set those individual flags to true as well. I would like to also add that the details object that we saw in the first step, it also has more options. You can define shipping options there. These are optional, but if you want to populate list of shipping options to the user, you define that in the array here, and browser payment sheet will make sure that these payment options are displayed to the user, and when user displays the proper payment sheet, the total gets updated automatically. Samsung Internet worked with major mobile browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Opera, along with W3C standard community to define these payment request objects as a standard APIs for all the browsers on all the mode like desktop and mobile and tablet and all those things. So these APIs are standard across all the browsers. You don't have to worry about the compatibility of these APIs. And these APIs are not something coming in the future, or it's currently under implementation. These APIs are live now. They are available today. You can grab the latest version of any of these browsers and you can start playing with this API. So I encourage all of you to go try these APIs out and use any of these browsers, and you should see the payment request API in action. Today I'd like to also announce, we announced a couple of weeks ago actually in SDC that Samsung Pay now supports web payments. So users can pay with Samsung Pay, and merchants can add Samsung Pay to their website for web checkout for using payment request APIs. So at launch, Samsung Pay will work both on Samsung Internet and Chrome, and it will be working on one of those initial partners you see on the right, Shopify, Samsung.com, Gopanash, and Charity on top, and soon you'll be able to try paying with Samsung Pay on one of these websites. I'd like to take this opportunity and thank all our partners for working closely with us on this integration. So let's look at how Samsung Paying with something on Samsung Pay looks like. So I'm on this web page. It's set up by it's a Shopify merchant. I'm ready to buy. I add the item to the cart, and I select the shipping address I want, select the shipping option I want after I select the address, and I click on Pay, and Samsung payment sheet shows up, and user authenticates the payment, and you're done. As simple as that. The payload is given back to the merchant and order is complete. So and you get also the notification from Samsung Pay that the payment just went through. So there's a blank, for a second there was a blank screen, and that's when user basically authenticated their payment, and because of secure elements we don't get to record that on a screen recorder. So you can basically imagine user just authenticated at that point. So it is that simple, just one authentication, all the information that they need is there, and the information is given back to merchant. The payload is given back to merchant. So let's talk about why should you support Samsung Pay. Well, other than the cool experience that you just saw, it provides a simple, frictionless, secure biometric authentication checkout for the users. And Samsung Pay is most widely accepted digital wallet. So it's thanks to its technology supports for NFC and MST. The Samsung Pay is one of the only digital wallet that works on most stores than any other digital wallet in the market. And Samsung Pay is pre-installed on most Galaxy phones. So there are a lot of users, and a very good chance users have Samsung Pay working set up on their phone. But these are not the reasons why I would say you should support. The main reason I would say you should support Samsung Pay is for the security benefits. The Samsung Pay, unlike what we just saw with the credit card payment, is Samsung Pay supports tokenized payments. So a payload, when user completes the checkout and authenticates the payment, the payload is a token information. It's not a raw credit card number. So what that means is merchants don't have to worry about storing or handling credit card numbers. They don't have to worry about PCI compliance, and they don't have to worry about if their server gets hacked and they lose the credit cards and get into trouble. So there is just no problem, that all the problems that you would have to take care if a user entered a raw credit card number on your site goes away. So that's the biggest benefit of tokenization. And thanks to the tokenized payment, it also protects users from intercepts and relay attacks. And merchants can select the payment process of their choice. So let's go look at how do you integrate Samsung Pay on your web page. It's a very simple 3-step process. The step 1 is you register as a partner with Samsung Pay. I'll give you a little bit more details later. How do you do that? While you're onboarding or registering as a partner on Samsung Pay portal, you choose your payment method. You provide your payment gateway information. You choose one of the payment method, either it's direct or indirect. In case of direct, the payload, the 3DS payload, is given back to the merchant. Samsung Pay provides the payload back to the merchant on the phone, and merchant can then hand it over to their preferred payment gateways. In case of indirect, merchants don't even have to do that. They can use some payment gateway supported like Stripe, where Samsung Pay makes sure the payload goes directly to Stripe, and merchants just get a reference back to that, and they can go to the Stripe and then collect their money from their gateway. Step 3 is you define Samsung Pay as a payment method. If you remember, in the payment request APIs, the step 1 was to create the payment method object. So you define Samsung Pay as one of the supported payment methods, and you use this URL, samsungpay.samsung.com, that identifies the browsers, both Chrome and Samsung Internet as of today. That this merchant supports Samsung Pay, and if user has the Samsung Pay set up, the Samsung Pay is displayed as one of the payment options in browser's payment sheet. If users don't have Samsung Pay set up, it doesn't show up there. So you don't have to worry about any extra friction and while user is checking out. So other than defining Samsung Pay payment URL, you pass few more details like this product ID, which you get when you register as a partner on Samsung Pay, and you pass few more information like your merchant name that gets displayed on the payment sheet, your allowed card networks, and we also make it very easy for you to test Samsung Pay on your web page. And if you define this parameter on your web page, debug and debug key, the debug key that you get from the partner portal again, so you can use any phones that has Samsung Pay installed and easily test this out yourself. Optionally, again, you can make payment from the browser payment request API to make sure if Samsung Pay is set up before you call show API. So you might be dying to ask, so how do I get started? To get started, visit this URL, samsunginter.net. So it's Samsung Internet with just dot in the middle, /payments. Or you can reach out to us at Twitter account at Samsung Internet. And the partner portal URL is here. It's still in beta, it's work in progress. You can sign up to be notified when the partner portal is ready, either through one of these links, or you can just drop an email to payments@samsungpay.com, and we will make sure we notify you when the partner portal is ready. At the moment, this Samsung Pay support is only in US. We are looking into supporting into other countries, and it's going to happen soon. If you are part of these other countries, please drop an email or sign up to this link on the above, and we will notify you when we have the Samsung Pay support available in your country, and we would also happy to work with you and start testing this feature out on your web page. Well, with that, I'm going to give it back to Gavi.
Thank you, Mahesh. That was very interesting, pretty straightforward to understand. At this moment, we don't have any questions. So just to remind you about the next steps, again, if you have any questions or is there anything we can do to help you, please join the Samsung Developer Program. We will be happy to help. Next webinar, end of this month, reach a greater audience and increase your app downloads. Very interesting topic. If you have an Android app, a Gear app, a theme, watch face, it's something worth to consider. And please take a look at the past webinars. This webinar is going to be recorded. Well, it's already recorded, and we're going to upload it to the website as well as the slides. And you will see a survey in a few minutes. Please answer it. It just takes like less than 1 minute to fill it out. If you have any comments, please let us know. Thank you again, everybody, for joining. Have a good day.
Thank you.